Hello. I'm going to be reading from my book, The Everlasting Gospel of Jesus. It's available on Amazon on Kindle Unlimited to read for free in English, Spanish, or French, or it's also available for purchase. I'm reading in chapter 5, the Gospel. The Gospel explains why Jesus died on the cross. But the reason Jesus died on the cross is only part of the truth. God did not bring us to preach part of the truth, but the whole truth. The Gospel reveals the whole truth. In the beginning, God spoke, and the world came into existence. He hung the stars on nothing. He spoke where there was nothing, and creation came into being. Galaxies continue to form day after day from that word he spoke in the beginning. The creation is the foundation of all things. God is so beautiful and so intricate that nothing is left to chance. For example, God created the hummingbird. Scientists say it is impossible for the hummingbird to fly because it weighs so much, and its wings are so tiny it does not have enough strength to beat its wings fast enough to fly. Whenever the scientists tell you it is impossible for a hummingbird to fly, use the hummingbird as an example and tell them they have no business telling you there is no God. When they say life came through a natural procession called evolution and there was no creation, tell them that creation came about from a series of spoken words with instantaneous results. God created everything through the word of his power. The hummingbird was part of the spoken words leading up to God's crowning glory, the man. Man was not spoken into existence. The Bible says God formed man with his own hands. God formed man from the dust of the earth. On the sixth day, he took some dirt away from the earth he created in the beginning to make a man. He used that dirt to make a man. We are dirt with the breath of life in us. Man was God's personal work. When God personally finished creating man, he said it was good. God formed man from the dust of the earth, breathed the breath of life into him, and man became a living soul. You are a living soul. You are not an animal. You didn't come from an animal. You are a living soul made in the image of God. Don't forget that. Everything in creation was made for me and my kind. We are better than they are because God personally formed us with his own hands. In 1 Corinthians 15, the Apostle Paul said the beginning of the gospel he received was that Jesus died on the cross, was buried, and rose again on the third day. The rest of the chapter addresses doubters. Some had expressed doubts that Jesus rose from the dead, or that we could be raised from the dead. If you don't believe that Jesus was raised from the dead, you don't believe the gospel. You are fooling yourself, believing in vain. The first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last man was made a quickening spirit. The natural man came first, and afterward the spiritual. The first man is of the earth, earthly. The second man is the Lord from heaven. As is the earthly, such are they that are earthly. And as is the heavenly, such are they also that are heavenly. As we have borne the image of the earthly, so shall we bear the image of the heavenly. We need to examine the earth, the land, or dirt in the context of the Bible, because the Bible contains a deeper understanding than is usually contemplated on this subject matter. There was a 3-year famine in the land of Gibeon. David inquired of the Lord, and the Lord answered it was because of Saul and his bloody house, because he killed the Gibeonites. David knew to go straight to God when he had a problem. We should always go straight to God when we have a problem. We shouldn't go to everyone else and then go to God. If we go to God first, he will speak to us and give us the answer. God answered David that this famine was about Saul. Saul was already dead, but the land of Gibeon had a problem with Saul. The Gibeonites were Canaanites who had a covenant with the Israelites to be their servants perpetually. When Joshua brought the children of Israel across the Jordan River, he won many battles and killed many Canaanites. The Canaanites realized that Joshua intended to kill them all because that was what God wanted. Some of them decided they would escape death through deceit. They made their shoes and clothes look old and worn, covered themselves with dirt, and presenting themselves to the children of Israel as strangers from a far-off land. They said, "We have heard of you and do not want to be your enemies. Let us abide with you. We will cut your wood and draw your water and become your servants. Let us live with you and don't kill us." Unlike David, Joshua didn't go ask God. Joshua thought it was a good deal for the Israelites, so they drew up a covenant and made the agreement before they found out these people came from just down the street. The deceit of the Gibeonites did not sit well with many Israelites when they found out about it. It wasn't the deal they thought they were making with the people they thought they were making it with. Remember, with God, a deal is a deal. You made the deal, you have to live with it. So the Gibeonites were servants to the Israelites and cut their wood and drew their water through the years until Saul was king. Saul heard the story and went back on the deal. Since God had told Joshua to kill all the inhabitants of the land, Saul decided that also meant the Gibeonites, and he began to kill them. Saul was already dead. His son Jonathan was already dead. Since they have both been killed, why is there a problem? There was a famine in the land. In Gibeon, nothing would grow. David said, "God, why isn't anything growing in Gibeon?" God said, "Don't you know? Don't you remember the covenant with the Gibeonites?" Saul killed the Gibeonites. That violated the covenant between Israel and the Gibeonites. The earth became angry because they went back on their deal with the Gibeonites and killed them. The earth became angry? Did you know dirt could get angry? When the Gibeonites were killed in violation of the covenant, it became a problem for the earth. Innocent blood was shed. There was an agreement not to kill them. So when they were killed, that invoked the wrath of the earth, whose dust was used to create them. Adam's sons, Cain and Abel, were the first generation, the first babies ever born. Cain killed his brother Abel. God said, "Cain, where's your brother?" Cain said, "Oh, am I my brother's keeper?" He wasn't his brother's keeper. He was his brother's killer. Did Cain think he could just walk away free after killing his brother? God said, "This is what will happen to you, Cain. Wherever you go, the earth will not bring forth its fruit. There will be a famine wherever you are." Cain was shocked and said, "My punishment is too harsh." Cain was a farmer making his living growing crops.